Cheers! I didn't actually sip that one, but hopefully it looked real. Hey guys, welcome back to Coffee Talks. We're here in Boston with Bradley Friedman from Lucky Orange. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell people a little bit about Lucky Orange?
Sure, thanks for having me. Again, my name's Bradley here with Lucky Orange, Director of Client Services. Lucky Orange is a company that helps with user engagement through recordings, heat maps, form analytics, and a lot more. And we also seek into the HubSpot community as well. So it's great to be here. Look forward to sharing some insight, and
we're happy to have you. Yeah, we're so happy to have you here. So I think one thing we see with websites is we have a lot of people come to us, or we work with a lot of people who, have a contact form on their website, and they maybe have some Google Analytics, and they're like, well, we're getting some contacts, or some people are filling out forms or calling us from the website maybe, and kind of your tool and what you guys are doing is taking this analytics to the next level. And why is it important to understand more than just maybe we're getting a couple contact form submissions? Why is it important to kind of have that next level user experience knowledge?
Sure. No, that's a great question. And people always are like, I'm getting lead forms, I'm happy with the performance, why mess with our site? Well, the thing is, no matter how well you're doing, you likely can always be doing better. And that means that whether it is changing just your lead form and how it's organized, switching your call to action button, whatever it may mean, there's always things you can be doing. And even if you make that conversion from 1% to 2%, that could be huge. That's a whole nother customer you could be gaining, and it's really a great thing to be keeping an eye on.
Once people kind of get started realizing, okay, there's this whole other amount of information that we can tap into, it can be a little bit overwhelming from there, because then there's this massive kind of level of granular data that you can collect, and that can be a little bit paralyzing.
Sure.
Do you have some places that would be good for people to start if they're like, okay, I understand there's some next steps I can do to take my website to the next level?
Yeah.
Where are maybe some data points or some different things to start looking at?
Definitely. I mean, it's always scary, but that's why there's A, you have someone on your team who knows what they're doing. B, you look to an agency even like Nextiny. I mean, there's all these different places you can turn of people that are experts in this space. But if you feel comfortable yourself, or you want to try a few different things, it can be as simple as just reorganizing your form. If your form's anything more than 2 or 3 fields, it's a chance you're losing people because they're filling it out in the wrong way, or they're getting stuck on one of those fields that you may not need. And so you can very easily use a tool that allows you to see how people are interacting, what stages are dropping off, and then test. What I do always say is you need to test. So no matter what you do, you may think you're losing these people here, but at the end of the day, you still need to make sure that this new version is better. You don't want to just say, oh, I think this is going to work, I make the change and not test. A/B testing is a huge important part of all this.
There's a question then of kind of how long and how do you know when to take action once you make small changes? Can you explain a little bit about what that kind of period needs to be of, okay, I've made a change, I wait this long, or I look for this % of change after you kind of got into this data and maybe are making some changes?
For sure. It's really going to depend on your site. There's sites out there that get 1,000 visitors a month. There's sites out there that get 100,000 or 1 million visitors a month. And so the ones that are getting more traffic can make changes maybe a little bit faster because they have that information quicker. For these sites that are getting not as much, but more high quality traffic, you might need to wait a month or 2 until you're making a change, because you are only getting 5 or 10 leads a month, and you're not going to want to make a change after 1 or 2 leads, because that's not going to give you a lot of insight. So the important factor is determining how much traffic you're getting, and then figuring out a stage at where you feel comfortable that you have enough on both version A, B, or you could even have version C, but you know when it feels right, and you can tell, okay, this one really is starting to outperform. Let's go ahead, switch on over. But once you make that switch, you can't stop, because now it's time to start iterating on something else.
Yeah.
So now you reorganized your form, okay? Now let's look at your call to action button. But let's not try to change too many things at once. It goes in stages, so that way you actually know the impact of those changes you're making.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We love Lucky Orange. We're such big fans of you guys and what your tool kind of enables us to do in making those small iterations over time that allows our sites to grow. Could you give, just for those of them out here who might not know about Lucky Orange, just a little bit about what your tool offers that other tools may not, or what kind of data and insights Lucky Orange can provide?
Sure. So Lucky Orange is a tool that really allows you to see what's going on the site. So whether it's through a visitor recording, where each individual visitor that comes to your site, you'll be able to go back and see how they engaged, where they're dropping off, what pages they're going to. You get that personal insight into how each individual user experienced your website. But at a high level, we also get into things like dynamic heat maps. Since we are tracking all these individuals, you can see how aggregated together, each of these users have experienced the site. So you know, what are those buttons and items people are interested in? How are they engaging with forms altogether? Where are they dropping off? How can we make changes? And so the tool really aggregates all that data together for you. So now you can start to go make these user experience changes and improve your site through those different actions.
Amazing. We're such big fans of you guys. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Bradley.
Of course, it was a pleasure. Enjoyed speaking with you all, and hope you have a great rest of the time.
Thanks.